die. We all are gonna die. We all are gonna die. We all are gonna die. Why don't we help each other prepare for it? Without death there could not be life. I'm talking about end of life conversations, conversations about the end of life. Death and dying, grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.
Hello, loved ones here and beyond the veil. I'm the Reverend Wakil David Matthews. For this special Halloween episode, we thought it would be fun and interesting to spend some time looking at the cultural differences between what we do here in the United States, our Halloween celebrations, and then the ones that other cultures do around the world. Even though our Halloween culture, our Halloween that we do here kind of originated with the Celtic Samhain ceremonies, it seems to have evolved or maybe even devolved into one of more fear and danger and evil, and so we thought it would be interesting to talk about how other cultures seem to be more comfortable with the celebrating and honoring the loved ones who have passed away, and then kind of how it's changed here in our culture. So what do you think, Annalouiza?
I think that's a really great idea because I've thought about that for a long, long, long time. As some of you have heard before, I was raised Pentecostal, and I remember being a kiddo who heard about Halloween at school and at my
Mhm.
Bluebird troop. And, it was always like a mixed bag because I wanted to be a part of it, but my parents were always told that it was a satanic ritual and that
Right.
we had to be very careful, that it's a night where so much demonic activity happened. So, growing up, sometimes they'd have like these church slumber parties or, for kids so that they'd
Yeah.
give us candy, but keep us in the church
Keep you
and
safe.
to be safe, right? And
Yeah.
so, I was just always flummoxed by this whole notion that were, we had to hide from Halloweeners.
Hmm.
And it was it was interesting because I think when I was in junior high, I kind of thought I would just start looking to see what it originated from, and I could understand, like, I didn't even know what a pagan was, like, what's a pagan, right?
Right.
And so, now that you and I are enjoying each other's company in death positive spaces,
Hmm.
I love that we're gonna talk about this because I think like you said, there's been such a change from what Halloween might have originated as to
Hmm.
what we see as a multi-billion-dollar capitalist function that keeps people afraid and not really wanting to get closer to the conversation about death, which
Yeah.
is what it came from.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's really true, and I was thinking that, it has kind of become like all the other holidays that came from the pagans, just
right.
another one of those things that we turn into buy something, buy these costumes and get yourself out there and scare people, and that whole scary thing of, putting graves and
Yeah.
skeletons and all this stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff coming out. Yeah, I mean, if we look back this time of year in the northern hemisphere, it's the shortest days of the year, and so we have these long nights. And you can imagine, back in the day, that people were sitting around with not much else to do. It was cold, and at least, like I said, northern hemisphere, and they started to think about and maybe feel that sense that the veil was thinner, and so maybe we can actually have some celebration and conversation and with each other and with the people who have gone before.
Yeah.
And you see that over and over again in the cultures around the world until it gets here and does what it does here.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I found out this afternoon was, indeed, the Celts, lots and lots of iterations ago,
Hmm.
would count All Hallows Eve Day, which they didn't call it that, they called it Samhain. They considered that the halfway point between autumnal equinox and winter solstice. So it's that halfway point that they would mark on their own like natural calendar.
Hmm.
And I love that they probably did do a lot of slaughtering of animals
Right.
and start trying to put all their harvest food away because now it's cooler. The
Hmm.
food can keep a little bit. And that what they did set aside this time to honor everybody who had passed during the year
Yeah.
and came together. And then it became like a community function where food gets made, apples were brought in for kids probably,
Hmm.
and people were discussed in like the past tense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe
Yeah.
not so much past tense, but because they were like, tonight they're still out there
Yeah. They're here with us.
wandering
Yeah.
around, right? And so Samhain is the beginning of All Saints' Day, which I guess I read that ninth century, the Catholic Church said, "Enough of this pagan stuff. It's ours." I thought it was kind of funny. It was like, "We're going to create the party. You
Yeah.
come to our party and don't go to your party."
Right.
To these pagan, these dirty people, these dirty farmers, because pagan actually means like people of the land. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And
uh,
yeah, I can kind of imagine the big bonfires and people all
yeah,
sitting around and like looking around and kind of feeling that sense of our ancestors are right here with us. Let's have a
yes,
conversation. Let's have a celebration. Let's feed them. Let's dance with
yes.
them. Let's sing. I mean,
Hmm.
we had that wonderful Irish
The
person come
Reverend,
on,
yeah,
yeah, that do the Revenant songs.
hmm,
Um, that was beautiful, and and that is something that's again, that's in Ireland. That's pretty much harking back to these times.
hmm,
These songs were about connecting to the dead, and reaching out to them and saying, "Hey, let's have a party,"
yeah,
and I love that. And of course, the wake, the idea, and we also looked into other European countries that did like after the All Saints Day would be the after All Souls Day, the next day, November 1st and 2nd. And I think it was in Austria that All Souls Day was a time for everybody to go out and visit all of their loved
mm,
ones at the graveyard, and to go to their
mhm,
graves and to put candles and food and same kind of thing. Just really
mhm,
celebrate that these people aren't gone. They're still in our hearts. They're still a part
mhm,
of us, and we want to
mhm,
say hello.
mhm.
What a wonderful, sweet way to look at things instead of, oh my God, let's make each other scared.
Yeah, and it's a lot of different things for me. I also feel
Yeah.
like uh the rise of Christianity also did away with a lot of these very natural and loving
Yeah.
ceremonies that people would do to keep connected to one another and those who were on the other side of the veil. But, so just as a kind of a cross reference too, los Días de los Muertos, because it's 2 days,
Hmm.
just like they do in Austria. And what I didn't realize, it's like the Catholic Church wanted you to celebrate the death of all the saints, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, whatevs. Like, I didn't know them. But for my tradition, we spend November 1st honoring all babies who have died, dead children,
Hmm.
pets, all those that we consider like saintly by their own right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so,
Real
oh,
saints.
real saints. Yeah, saints we know. And so we usually have a lot of kids come over and do their own little thing, talk about death. And then November 2nd is for the adults who have passed.
Hmm.
And so, it's a 2-day celebration that the church wanted it to, force our hand to do it one way. But
Right.
here we have now, there's a continuation for me in my mind. It's like All Hallows Eve.
Hmm.
It's the night before we start this tradition to spend time with our ancestors. This is when we do all the cooking. This is when we do, getting the food prepared and setting up the bonfires. And one thing I also found out about was that the bonfire that was made that evening would be the fire that you took home to light your
Right.
winter fire to keep
Yeah.
it, to which I imagine is to Easter, because
Mm.
that
Oh,
is the
yeah.
next time that you let the fire die out and you
Hmm.
start a new one and begin that fire to take you through another season. So all these very lovely and earth,
Yeah. Yeah. Connected.
nurturing, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
traditions.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost sight of those, unfortunately, and in our culture only, I think. Well, maybe only. There's other cultures. A lot of the Western cultures have lost sight of those
Mhm.
under the influence of Christianity, mostly. Maybe the other Abrahamic religions have contributed to that. But in any
Yeah.
case, that losing sight of that has separated us from that which is real, that that connection to the earth, and
Mhm.
that we try to reclaim with all of what we're doing, and the mystic practices, and
Mhm.
the time
Mhm.
to trying to get back into the earth and be with the earth and be grounded and present, and celebrating and saying thank you.
Mhm.
All those things that we spend most of our time talking
Yeah.
about, thinking about, trying to do, our
Yeah.
practices to try to bring that back into our world.
Mhm. Something else that occurred to me is, like, they were thankful for that time too, but they also acknowledged the end of that season, right?
Yeah,
The trees have probably lost their leaves, the grasses have become drier. There is a very deep fear of dying through the winter because of the cold. Do we have enough
sure.
food? Do we have enough, you know, fuel for our fires?
Hmm.
And so death is present.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's around. It's like walking around and being like, "Who do I get this year?" Right? So,
exactly.
so truly, the veil is thin.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not only are we mourning our loved ones who have passed, but I see that death is still lurking.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that through our practices that we do sometimes, when we do deep meditation in the forest and stuff, we begin to kind of get that sense of the thinness of the veil that we notice more in this time of year, because it's
Mhm.
so getting dark, and we're in that, we get a chance to kind of sleep, rest, the opportunity to rest in the darkness.
Right.
um, that you can kind of create that as well with meditation and with being in the forest. And
Mhm.
but this is an opportunity to notice how the earth is responding. I think that's the beauty of it, is you're
Mhm.
tuning into the cycles of the planet that we live on, the mother that is going through her death cycle right now,
Mhm.
and that also holds that intrinsic hope that spring
That's
will
right.
return.
That's
Right.
right. And it's a hope. It's a just a hope. That's all
that's
that's gonna
that's
get us
all.
through it,
That's
right?
right. Yeah. Yeah, because otherwise we despair, and
Mhm.
we get in. I mean, people do get depressed in the wintertime, and of course they get depressed every day because of all the other
Mhm.
things that are going on. But the way, I think it's a great lesson for us to remember that this is an opportunity to reconnect and to notice that intrinsic hope, that spring does come back, that the morning
Mhm.
does come, that we do take that next breath. And it's just sort of a wonderful, wonderful earth connection that takes us through that lesson. That's wow! What a blessing! What a blessing it can be.
It
Yeah.
can be. So, going back to our Halloween practice here, where actually capitalism has, like, absconded with that practice as well, right? Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like somebody needs to make billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And, I wonder how much of this is too, like, I was just imagining, our ancients sitting
Hmm.
around during this time. How it's starting to cool down outside, the earth, like the actual earth is getting a little cooler, but
Yeah.
every once in a while you'll feel a thermal just go by, like
Hmm.
warm air
Ah.
just kind of
Yeah.
sift by. Might that have been an ancestor who just went by, right?
Yeah.
So
Snuggled
there's
up.
so there's all these little kind of earth motions that contribute to this, like, mystery, right? Like, what was
Yeah.
that? And then now, like, we send kids out in, fully decked out in plastic and,
Yeah.
wigs and stuff, and they're out there being the spirits, but not able to feel the mystery,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes,
right?
that's really sad. And there, I remember in my neighborhood, there used to be one guy that would put on this really scary costume and walk around just freaking everybody out,
Mhm,
and it
mhm,
was, he was having fun, it was his fun.
mhm.
But again, it's that whole sense of, this is about how scared can we be, or go watch a horror movie, um,
Right,
you
well, it
know,
contributes to a culture that's very afraid of death,
yeah, yeah,
right?
more so, yeah,
Well, or it changes the perception that death is ugly and loathsome
yeah,
rather than
yeah,
natural.
yeah, yeah, which is what we're trying to make different, right?
It's little
Yeah,
steps, baby steps.
yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't no, just keep going because I was just thinking about, so much that we've lost to what people think is progress, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's just taken us so far away from
yeah,
the. The
from our
mystery.
earth.
The earth.
Yeah, 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 and forgetting. Yeah, just being in this forgetfulness and thinking that we have to have all these things, all these accoutrements, all these, our nice cars, our nice houses, our nice, all the
Well,
nice stuff, that
or the
gets
trick, the Hallmark holidays.
yeah, that get between us and that sense of being one with the beloveds. And
Mhm,
so let's reclaim it, right? How about that for a call to action for everybody? Let's see if we can reclaim this and maybe start
mhm,
talking, maybe start having celebrations with your loved ones more around the Samhain version
mhm.
or around the Dia de los Muertos or the even second half of the All
The
Souls, the All
All
Souls Day.
Souls,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
right.
spending that time remembering that those people haven't left and that they are still with us and that we can say thank you and we can bring out a bunch of food and share our food and our flowers and
Mhm,
sticky rice or whatever, I remember the Asian ones that we looked at were, the hungry ghost days in China were
right.
also the same thing. They would bring out lots of food
Mhm,
and flowers and just let's all get together again, gather around and
mhm.
celebrate this time of year. So we have that opportunity. We can change. We can make
We
that change.
we do have the opportunity something that I've never really understood, but so I guess, like, Veterans Day? Is it Veterans Day or Memorial Day in May
Hmm.
when people go to visit veterans
Yeah.
plots, right? Not
Hmm.
necessarily everybody, it's just so does the US have any kind of holiday to go to their loved one's grave?
I don't think so. I think that's the only one. And some people do on Memorial Day go to their loved ones too. I think
Mhm,
they get that opportunity. I mean, I think it's something so deep in our DNA that if we find a way or if we open ourselves to it.
mhm,
So many people we've talked to though on the podcast have mentioned that they've never ever been to the grave sites of their family. It's
mhm.
not something that's done
That's
anymore. For one
commonly
thing,
done, mhm.
yeah, for one thing, we're so spread out that the grave sites may be 2,000, 3,000 miles away,
Right.
and
Huh,
even if they weren't, how many of us go and visit them? It's not a thing here as much as it is. And I think these cultural things we've talked about all sort of lend themselves to remembering.
mhm,
Let's go visit them. Let's go to the grave and
mhm.
let's see that place where we left them behind.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, that's our call to action for all of you.
Yes, it is.
Think about it. Think about ways you can change this kind of disconnect. Find ways that you
Well,
can reconnect.
and maybe Halloween is a really great opportunity to talk about death
Absolutely.
because what
Yeah.
is it, with your community or your loved ones that either bring a sense of horror and fear, or is it a natural ending, end of the season, autumnal delight?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
which one is it? Which one are you fostering in your own space?
Exactly. Yeah, I remember talking about in our class about preparation for end of life that we should have a day of the year where we just get everybody together that we love and talk about how we want to die.
That's right.
You
Wasn't it
know,
Dead Day?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Death
Your
death
Dead
party,
Day.
right? Or dead party,
Death
like
party. That's right.
first day, death day. Yeah, and yeah, it's so maybe Halloween's a perfect time for that because it really
Maybe it
does
is.
part of our DNA. If we let it, it can just really connect us back to the really really ancient stuff that we know
Mhm,
is in there that we can feel.
mhm,
It's an opportunity.
mhm.
So what a great way to talk about this stuff. Thank you for spending
I think
time,
well,
Annalouiza.
thank you for making space for us to, like, be curious about what this actually means. And also, I hope more people are curious about why they do certain things. Like,
Right.
people just spin their wheels doing the same thing over and over again without having a value system around what it is that they're doing. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why are you doing this?"
Right. This is one good example, and there are many, many more.
That's right. So,
Yeah.
reclaim it.
Yeah, yeah. So, please come back and see our next podcast,
Yes.
and there's so many great people coming up. Can't wait to see you all there.
That's
So,
right.
happy everything.
Happy everything. Adios.
Adios.